Hello, my dear children of 10th standard. Now, in this video, we are going to see poem number 3, How to Tell Wild Animals, written by Caroline Wells. Now, very first, I'll give you a short summary of the poem. This is humorous poem, and this poet is telling us how to identify different wild animals. Here, in this poem, poet is introducing 7 different types of wild animals. How one can identify them? Like, for example, she is introducing tiger, lion, leopard, bear, crocodile, hyena, and chameleon. She tells us that what distinctive features, or we can say what unique qualities are there, and on that basis one can identify them. If you are going to jungle, how you can identify these wild animals? So very first, I'll give you a short information about the poetess, that is Caroline Wells. So Caroline Wells was an American writer and poet. She took birth on 18th June 1862 and died on 26th March 1942. She is well known for her poems. So, let us begin the poem. I'll read the stanza and I'll explain you. So, in the first stanza, the poetess is telling that if ever you should go by chance to jungle in the east, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is the Asian lion. So here, in this stanza, the poetess is telling that the wild beast found in the jungle, okay, she says that if by chance you happen to go to any forest in the east, you are likely to encounter a huge and terrible animal moving towards you. You will notice that it is brownish yellow in color, and if that beast roars loudly at you and you feel that you are going to die to fear, then you will come to know that it is the Asian lion. So in stanza 1, the poetess is introducing Asian lion, how one can identify. In stanza 2, the poetess is telling that, or if sometime when roaming round with black stripes on a yellow ground, this simple rule may help you learn a noble wild beast greets you. Just notice if he eats you, the Bengal tiger to discern. Here, noble means very impressive, and ground means background. Discern means to identify. So, in this stanza, the poetess says that it is very likely that while roaming in the forest, you are greeted by a wild beast. This wild animal is very impressive in size, and his majestic body is covered with black stripes on a yellow hide. The poetess cautious that if the readers notice this beast and that if he eats them, then this simple rule will teach them that it is a Bengal tiger. So in second stanza, the poet is telling that how one can identify Bengal tiger. In third stanza, the poetess is telling that if strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. will do not to roar with pain. He will only lap and lap again. Here, strolling means to walk somewhere. Fourth means to come forward. And hide means animal skin here. Peppered means covered with spots. And leapt means to jump high. So, in this stanza, the poetess helps the readers to identify a leopard. She says that if you happen to walk in the forest, you might encounter a beast with spots on his skin. When this wild beast will jump at you, you will understand that it is a leopard, as he will keep jumping on you and will tear you apart. Moreover, it will be of no use then to shout or cry with pain, because he will continue jumping on you. So, in the third stanza, the poet is introducing that how one can identify leopard, or what unique qualities of leopard are there. In fourth stanza, the poetess tells that if when you are walking round your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubt, I guess he will give you just one more caress. Caress means a gentle, loving touch. So, in fourth stanza, the poetess says that while you are walking in your yard, you may encounter a creature there. When this creature hugs you very, very tightly, then believe that it is a bear. See, students, this is poetess' point of view. Okay. Now, further, she says that in case of any doubt, you will find that the bear will once again give you a gentle, loving touch. In fifth stanza, the poetess says that though to distinguish beast of prey, a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas comes with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodile. So, here, novice means someone new to a job, or we can say beginner. Nonplus means to be confused or surprised. So, in fifth stanza, the poetess here says that a novice, a beginner, may be puzzled and confused, and thus might not be able to distinguish between the different wild animals. Hence, it helps to differentiate the crocodile from the hyena. She says that a hyena always laughs as it swallows its victim, means as it sees its victim. A laughing hyena's voice resembles human laughing sound. On the other hand, a crocodile is said to shed tears while eating its prey. So, hyena will give a merry smile. On the other hand, crocodile will weep, or we can say will cry. So, in this way, you can distinguish between hyena and crocodile. Further, in sixth stanza, the poetess tells that the true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of things. He has not any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it's the chameleon you see. Here, chameleon means it is a small lizard that can change color according to its surroundings. So, in sixth stanza, the poetess describes a chameleon. In this stanza, she says a chameleon is a small garden lizard. It does not have ears or wings. The poetess further says that if you are unable to see a thing on the tree, then chances are there that a chameleon is sitting there. A chameleon is an expert at changing its color according to its surroundings. So, it changes color as per its surroundings and is therefore difficult to see. So, this capacity of changing color helps the lizard in saving it from hunters. So, this was the explanation of the poem How to Tell Wild Animals, means how one can identify different wild animals. So, in this poem, poetess has introduced 7 different type of wild animals. Now, we'll see that what poetic devices has been used in this poem. So first, we'll see the rhyme scheme. Stanza wise, I will explain you the rhyme scheme and the figures of speech which is used in this poem. So, very first, we'll see the rhyme scheme. So see, advance is getting rhyme with first line, last word, chance. Sir sound is coming. So once again, we'll name it as A. Again, in fourth line, last word is beast. So see, again, fourth line is getting rhyme with second line. Okay, beast, east. So again, we'll name it as B. Now see, fifth line, last word is dine. No sound is coming, so we'll name it as C. In sixth line, last word lion. Again, no sound is coming, so we'll name it as C. So with this, in the first stanza, our rhyme scheme became A B A B C C. In this way, in all the stanzas, means in full poem, the rhyme scheme is same. In all the stanzas, the poetess has used same rhyme scheme, that is A B C C. Now we'll move on to figures of speech. So very first figure of speech which is used is enjambment. So what is the meaning of enjambment? Enjambment means if one line is continuing to the next line, okay, without any punctuation mark, then it is known as enjambment. So you all can see that line 1, okay, line 1 is continuing to line 2. Okay, in the end of line 1, no any punctuation mark has been used. It is continuing to line 2. In same way, line 3 is continuing to line 4. So this is the instances of enjambment. Now, next figure of speech which is used in stanza 1 is inversion. So very first, what is the meaning of inversion figure of speech? So inversion means changing order. For example, the correct order of any sentence is subject plus verb plus object. Like for example, she ate a banana. So here she is subject, ate is verb and banana is object. But to put musical effect or we can say rhythm, poets are changing the order. So, in the third line, when the poet says that if there should to you advance, okay, so see here, she has changed the order. Why she has changed the order? Only to bring musical effect, okay, or rhyme schemes. The correct order is and if there should to advance you. So, but here she has changed, okay, you advance. Now, next figure of speech which is used in the poem is assonance. So, assonance means, in the first stanza, assonance means the repetition of identical or similar vowel sound in a series of words or phrases. Means vowel sound will come, okay, from the line. So, you will see that in line 1, line 3 and line 5, okay, O sound is very prominent. Now see in line 1, okay, if ever you, O sound is coming, should, O sound, go by chance. Again in line 3, and if there should to you, okay, so if more than once, okay, if more than once, more than twice, if any vowel sound is coming, okay, in the line, so it is the instances of assonance, okay. Now very first I'll give you the difference between assonance and alliteration. See, in alliteration na, consonant sound will be there but in the starting of every word, okay. See the difference between assonance and assonance and alliteration. But in assonance, that vowel sound will be anywhere, like in, it might be in the starting also, or in the middle also, or in the end also. Now we'll see in stanza 2 what figures of speech has been used. See, again rhyme scheme is same, okay, A B C C. Round, we'll name it as A, first, second stanza, first line, last word, round. So round and ground is getting rhyme, so first and third line will name it as A, again second and line U, so we'll name it as B. Again see, fifth and sixth line, learn and discern, so we'll name it as C. Same rhyme scheme is coming. So with this in stanza 2 also the rhyme scheme became A B C C. Now in stanza 2 the figures of speech which has been used is, so the first figure of speech is alliteration. So now only I explained that what is the meaning of alliteration. So alliteration means the repetition of consonant sound at the start, okay, focus that at the start of two or more closely connected words. So in alliteration consonant sound will be there, but where? At the start of two or more than two words in the same line. So see here in line 1, okay, or if sometime when roaming round. So see here, roaming round, R sound is coming, okay, in both the words starting with R sound or letter. So this is known as alliteration. Now next figure of speech which is used in stanza 2 is inversion. So inversion means, now only I explained that changing of order, okay, changing order of the sentence. So see in fifth line, okay, in fifth line when the poetess is telling that this simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So here she has changed the order, okay, the Bengal tiger will come in the last and first will come to discern. Like this simple rule may help you learn to discern the Bengal tiger. But why she has changed the order? Only to bring rhyme, okay, or musical effect. Now next figure of speech which is used in stanza 2 is allusion. So allusion means when poet refers any famous personality, okay, or place, etc., in the poem or in writing, then it is known as allusion. So see, in sixth line, okay, in all the stanzas it is there, in sixth line, also in first stanza, okay, last line, when the poetess is telling Asian lion. So like same way in stanza 2 when she is telling Bengal tiger. So poetess is introducing, okay, the Bengal tiger or the Asian lion. So she is referring the Bengal tiger, the Asian lion, okay. So this is known as allusion, figure of speech. Allusion means when poet or writer refers any famous personality or places, etc., in their poems or in their writings. Now see again, next figure of speech which is used is assonance. Assonance means, now only I told you that the prominence of vowel sound, okay, vowel sound will come and it will be in the starting, in the middle or in the end. So see in line 1, okay, and in line 3, in line 1 see, or if some time when roaming round. So or some, row means see O sound is very prominent, or we can say very famous. O sound is coming, okay. Like same way in line 3 if you will see, then see with black stripes on O, yellow, again see O, ground O. So O sound is very prominent. So this type of figure of speech is known as assonance. Now we'll see in stanza 3 what figures of speech and rhyme scheme has been used. So earlier only I told you that in all the stanzas the same rhyme scheme has been used by the poetess, that is AB, AB, CC. Again see in stanza 3 the first figure of speech is alliteration. So alliteration means the repetition of same consonant sound at the start of two or more closely connected words. So see in stanza 3 line 3, okay, when the poetess is telling that as soon as he has leapt on you. Now see here, he has means her sound is repeating in line, okay, and where h sound is there at the start of word. So this is known as alliteration. Now next figure of speech which has been used is repetition. Now repetition means repetition of same words or phrases in a line, or the repetition of lines. So here see in last line lep and lep is getting repeated, okay. So this is known as repetition. Now next figure of speech which is used is assonance. Assonance means, again tell me, repetition of same vowel sound in a sentence or in a series, okay. So see here in line 1, 2 and 5, okay, if you will read then you will find that O sound is very famous, very prominent, okay. In line 1 see, if strolling forth a beast you view, okay, so O sound is coming, fo, okay. Now see again in line 2, whose hide with spots is peppered. So whose, O sound, spots, O sound. Again in line 5 see, twill do no good to roar with pain. So again see O sound is coming, okay. So this is known as assonance. In same way, next figure of speech which is used in this stanza is consonance. So same as assonance, in consonance there is repetition of same consonant sound, okay, same consonant sound. In assonance, repetition of same vowel sound, and in consonance, repetition of same consonant sound. So see in line 3, okay, in line 3 if you will see, then see as soon as he leapt on you. So sound is coming, as soon. So this is known as consonants. Again in line 6, see, he will only lap and lap again. So see, he will only lap. So la sound is prominent. So we can say that sa and la, that is S and L, is coming. Okay, the sound of sa and la is coming from line 3 and line C. So this is known as consonants figure of speech. In same way, we'll see that what figures of speech is used in stanza 4. So see, again same rhyme scheme. Okay, that is A B A B C C. Now first figure of speech is enjambment. So enjambment is one line is continuing to the another line without any punctuation mark. So see, in line 1 is continuing to line 2. Okay, line 1 where the sentence is getting end. Okay, no any punctuation mark is there. In same way, line 5 is continuing to line 6. So this is known as enjambment. Okay, in the last, no punctuation mark will be there. Okay, now next figure of speech is alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of consonant sound at the beginning of words, phrases, etc. So see here, in line 1, okay, when the poet is saying that if when you are walking, so see here, verb sound is coming, okay, when walking, okay, and where verb sound is coming at the start of two or more than two words, okay. So this is known as alliteration. In same way, you will see that in line 3, okay, when she says that who hugs you very, very hard. So see here, who hugs. Okay, so see, her sound is coming. Though the spelling of who is WHO, but we pronounce it as who. Okay, so her sound is coming. Okay, here we will have to focus. Okay, we have to focus on the sound. The sound, what sound is coming. Okay, so her sound is coming in line 3. Who hugs. So this is known as alliteration, or this instances. Okay, these are the instances of alliteration. Now next figure of speech is assonance. So assonance means again repetition of vowel sound, okay, in the start, middle or end of the line. So see here in line 2, okay, in line 2, when poetess is telling that you meet a creature there. So you meet, E sound is coming, creature, E sound is coming, there, E sound is coming again. So this is known as assonance. Now we'll see what figure of speech is used in stanza 5. Again rhyme scheme is same, AB, AB and CC. Now figures of speech which is used is first alliteration. Where alliteration has been used? So tell me. Now see in line 2. Okay, when she says that a novice might nonplus. So see, no sound is coming, and no sound is where? At the start of words. So this is known as alliteration. Again see in line 4, when she says that tell me from the hyena thus. Okay, so see here, the sound is coming. Okay, tell me from the hyena thus. Okay, so the is what? The is consonant. So, or we can say the sound is repeating. So it is known as alliteration. Again see, next figure of speech is enjambment. Enjambment means no punctuation mark in the last. So sentence 1 is continuing to sentence 2. And again see, sentence 3 means line 3 is continuing to line 4. In same way, we'll see in stanza 6 what rhyme scheme and figures of speech is used. So rhyme scheme is again same. Okay, small and all, line 3 last word is all. See, see the stanza 6. Okay, so small and all will name it as A, thing and wing will name it as B, and tree and sea will name it as C. So rhyme scheme became AB, AB, CC. And figures of speech is first alliteration. So where alliteration has been used, what is the meaning of alliteration? So alliteration means repetition of consonant sound at the beginning of closely connected words. So see in line 3, okay, in line 3 poetess is telling that he has not any ears at all. So means what? He has not, means her sound is prominent, her sound is coming. So this is known as alliteration. Again see, next figure of speech is consonance. So consonance means repetition of consonant sound, or consonant sound will be there. It might be in the start or middle or end. So in line 4, okay, G sound is repeating. When the poet is saying, and poet is saying that when and not a single wing. So single wing G sound is coming. Okay, so this is known as consonance figure of speech. So the rhyme scheme which is used in all the stanzas are AB, AB, CC, and the figures of speech which is used is enjambment, inversion, assonance, alliteration, allusion, repetition, and consonance. So with this we come to an end of the poem. Okay, thank you.